Okay, I think we can get ready to start our meeting. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then followed by God Bless America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Barb, do you have any historical comments?
I have a little bit of inspiration here for us from Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. It is often the small steps, not the giant leaps, that bring about the most lasting change. And another one I think very appropriate for us here at Kiwanis from Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
Thank you. And on Zoom, we have not only our incoming president, but we have our current president and past president. And welcome. Thank you for joining us on Zoom today. We don't have a very good showing here in person, so the more we get on Zoom, the better. With that, I think before our meal arrives, we'll have our speaker present his topic today about the ProJeCt of Easton. So I'd like to introduce Keith Lampman-Perlman, and he can talk about ProJeCt.
So thank you. You said stand up there? My pleasure. Good afternoon, everybody, and hello to everybody on the Zoom call or whatever kind of call we're having. I can't even see. Oh, Zoom, good. Do I look here to speak with the Zoom? Anyway, my name is, I don't want my back to them. My name is Keith Lampman-Perlman, as you heard, and I am a relatively new director of development for ProJeCt of Easton. For those of you that don't know, how many of you have heard of ProJeCt of Easton? Nice. How many of you know that we have an early childhood education center? That's nice. And how many of you know that we do English as a second language? I may be done speaking, and that we do the GED testing on site. Okay, that we have a food pantry. This is great. I may not speak as well as what. Then our two school-based programs. You all know about the two school-based programs. One you fund, so you probably know about Student Success Program, and the other one is Summer Sizzle. So everyone knows. So you basically, this is great. This is the first time I've spoken in almost 6 months where each person has heard of each of our 6 distinct programs. They're distinct and yet they all integrate together. Simply Savior was our special event. It's our signature special event that we just had this past week. I'm actually going to take this off only because I'm warm. And the special event is actually held each year. This year it was in the spring. It was the 10th, and we had more people than ever before, which was fun. And we nearly doubled the income, which was good. All of that goes towards our mission. Our mission at ProJeCt of Easton is quite simple. It's the reason why I accepted the position and the reason why I'm here. It's helping people help themselves. And that's basically how just to give you a quick overview of who Keith Lampman-Perlman is, it's basically how I try to live my life, helping people help themselves. And I was just saying before the meeting that the fact that I'm here is unbelievable to me because I wasn't necessarily looking for a position. I certainly wasn't looking for a position in Easton, Pennsylvania. I had been here several times. Once every 3 to 6 months, we'd come up for lunch or dinner or something, particularly since the restaurant scene has exploded a bit around and Easton's really come a long way. It's kind of funny because Monarch Furniture, actually, we bought all of our furniture from a house prior to this one, from Monarch Furniture. So that was funny to me. But I do believe there are no coincidences. So this prolific program that we do, we currently have 7,000 individuals. That includes obviously the children of some of our families that are directly being affected by all that Project of Easton does, the prolific programming, as I call it. And we've gone through them all already, so I don't have to do that again. But one of the things I wanted to say also is, besides Simply Savory, our signature event, we have our graduation coming up. And with our GED program, obviously people take they're preparing to take their GED test, which they can take at our certified center, right at 200 Ferry Street, right across from the post office in Easton. They can take that anytime they want. So as long as we have a proctor there, which are all on staff, they can test for that. So they may be receiving their GED throughout the year, but they come together, they're invited back. This year it's on June 25th. And we're excited to say that this year's graduation ceremony will be held at the State Theater. So that's very exciting. Because one of the things I tell people, particularly about GED, not necessarily all of our programs, but GED, these people want to learn, they want to receive their GED certification so that they can become what they consider better citizens, better and more responsible, self-sufficient people. And I think that that's a great thing for each of us. So we celebrate that. And it used to be at different places. This year we're having it, like I said, at State Theater. It's been donated by a couple that we're very happy to have them as donors to our graduation event. We'll begin that procession with alumni. So a whole group of alumni will process in first. We'll have some other people speak. Hopefully we'll have some at least local celebrities that do their thing on the microphone and pay our respects in a grand style to our graduates this year. After that, there will be a dessert reception that too was just donated. So we're happy about that. So we'll make people feel special about our GED program. As you come into our Fowler Literacy Center on 200 Ferry Street, the walls are lined, with laminated copies of GEDs. This is how excited these people are. And they're anywhere from 17 years old to 88 years old. It's the oldest that we've ever had come through our program. So it's never too late to earn your GED. And it's I dare say it's a pride thing. And it also helps people to help themselves. We're helping them earn their GED. We have a formal collaboration within the year with St. Luke's Hospital, just one of our collaborations. And what that does is allows people that want to go straight to work with their GED. They can go straight to St. Luke's and right into the HR office where they know they're coming from Project at Easton and they know our program, they know the collaboration. They may go in as a service type person, but don't ever assume anything about our students. They may have their sights set on becoming anything. So it could be a stepping stone. We've had several that become phlebotomists. They do the blood draws. St. Luke's is wonderful also because they have programs within themselves, obviously, that allow their folks to raise themselves up within the organization. They don't want to lose anybody either, but so they need feeders, what I call them. We can feed them a GED person. Obviously, they receive their other accreditations from all kinds of schools around the country, but we can feed them people with a GED to get them started, then they can move them up within the ranks if that's what they so choose. Our food pantry is another one where we collaborate with all the different food pantries. So one of the things that I think that is interesting is that we don't turn anybody away. We have a program that a lot of people, like the one program that I didn't mention was our assist program. And if you probably all heard about that too. ProJeCt's Assist program. That's our emergency program where we have a case manager full-time. She does nothing but receive people that come in that need help immediately. They need food right now. It's not necessarily one of the 2 days when our food pantry is formally open. But we don't turn anybody away. We will help them. We will feed them that day. Somehow we will get them help. And this person, that's her job to get them help. Again, it may be working in collaboration with many of the other organizations, both citywide and any other governmental assistance program that we can be in touch with to help this person get through their immediate need. You know, if it's cold out, we make certain that they're not sleeping in the cold or not in a dangerous situation. And if we have to, it's very rare, but if we had to, we'd phone 911 emergency services if it's something where we absolutely can't handle it. But other than that, we can handle anything. Her name is Angie, and she deals with our, again, it's the assist program. So we try and deal with everything. As I see it, the only thing we don't do, if someone falls through the cracks that we don't even take care of at ProJeCt of Easton, and they end up on some type of substance abuse program, that's the only area where we currently don't have a place. And but our whole goal is to keep people, particularly the young people, the out-of-school youth being one of our sub-programs, from making a choice of going out of school and then ending up on the streets, and then one thing leads to another, and they could become a concern with regard to substance abuse. So we're very conscious of that as well. I wanted to make certain that I speak to you about one of these two school-based programs, Student Success Program, because you fund our Student Success Program, which runs throughout the school year. And very often, as I saw from just looking at the grants, because I'm new, the information that you received would be almost at least a year old because of the school year, how the school year falls, September to June, obviously. So this year, I can tell you, the only thing I'm going to read is that our students so far through our Student Success Program, we have 565 in it through phase 6. Now we have another whole phase to go. And last year we served 671 students in this program. So we plan on exceeding what we did last year this year. Normally you'd be hearing numbers that are from a whole year ago, but this is through today or through last week. 85% of those students, which is 478 out of 565, have participated in our Learning Success LST program, and 80% of them have completed the curriculum, which is quite good for us. It's up a few percentage points from last year. 100%, or 6 out of 6 of them, have had a fidelity check, which is where one of our certified teachers goes and checks on the curriculum that's being taught at the school to make certain that they're being taught along the guidelines that have been approved by the PDE, as I now know, Pennsylvania Department of Education. So there are at least 100 acronyms that I learned within less than 2 months, I think. And that's the most challenging part of a position, particularly when you're speaking about education. I think there's a lot of acronyms, so it's much like the medical field that we spoke about before. So our Student Success Program will be completed in June. It is all of these 6th graders that care to be involved in that. As I call it, as a lay person with regard to education, although I come from quite a long line of educators, and I'm married to an educator, lifelong educator. I call it making good choices. And how's the bottom line? How do we teach youngsters that vaping, which is a big deal right now, is as, or may perhaps be as dangerous as smoking cigarettes? The chemicals, we don't know what those are going to do to children. And, a lot of children want to act out in some way. So perhaps, I know I did it my own way, whether I was always in trouble for talking too much. So I already told people, I'll watch the clock. I won't talk more than 15 minutes for sure, but you can drag me off, particularly about ProJeCt of Easton, which I do love. We do try and have the students do everything that we can to help them to make good choices that are going to affect their lives in a positive way. And it's everything except for direct mental health or therapy. We offer them assistance. So are there any questions on that? The Student Success Program, or anything else about ProJeCt of Easton? Happy to answer them now.
Anybody on the screen have any questions?
Hey, Keith.
Yes.
Hi, this is Scott on the screen up there. Your GED graduation ceremony coming up in June. How many are you going to be honoring at that event?
Thank you. We should have between 38 and 42 new graduates from this year. We're excited about that. And we don't know exactly how many graduates will be returning to process, as I said, for the current graduates, so from this year. So, but anywhere from 38 to 42 we're expecting, and that's a good question. We're asking.
Yeah, good. And you said between the ages, what was that upper age? 80 some?
We have an 88-year-old that it's fun and silly to share, but we have an 88-year-old that earned her GED at ProJeCt after going through the ProJeCt's program. So we're excited.
Wow.
She also
Incredible.
went through our ESL, English as a Second Language. So she didn't speak English. She learned English. Then she went into our GED program. You know, they're just steps away, each of these rooms. If you haven't had a tour, I encourage you to give me a phone call and we can set up a tour. And you know, no one has left a tour. Now here, everybody raised their hands. I don't know about on the screen, but everybody raised their hands, and you all are very well informed about ProJeCt of Easton. And for that, I'm very glad and grateful, because one of the things that I say is, before I can ask anybody to help us financially, my job is to raise funds for ProJeCt of Easton to keep our programs going and to expand. It's interesting to add that we have 42 people, same number as the maximum that could be graduating this year, but we have 42 people on our waiting list for English as a second language. That just makes me sad. We just don't have enough money to hire another teacher or have more volunteers. We also have a spatial issue. We're looking for someday, it's probably a 3, 5, maybe even 10-year plan to have each of our programs under one roof. So right now we have the Fowler Literacy Center, and then we rent from the church the other 3 areas. Clearly, we need a special building because we need 3 distinct entrances. Obviously, we need the one for the children, the ECE, Early Childhood Education Center, one for the food pantry, anybody can come to that, and one for our education department. So, yes.
One thing I learned when I was on the board of ProJeCt many years ago was that the food pantry, and I'm assuming it's the same today, the food pantry actually strives to present healthy choices to the people that come in. It's not just boxes of fat producing food, it's healthy choices for the families that need it.
That's right. And thank you for that, Skip. One of the things that our food pantry does as well, and I love it, is we offer, we're one of the few, we used to be the only choice food pantry in the Lehigh Valley. Now, that may seem counter to what Skip just said, because some people don't necessarily want to choose the healthy option, but we can meet both needs. The idea that we have a choice food pantry, I bring it all back to dignity. So if I'm down on my luck, or if I've just come to this country and I don't speak the language and I have no idea which way to turn. I mean, this is how desperate these people are. They're the most basic of our, physiological needs, food. So they present themselves to our food pantry, and we have a person, a volunteer assigned to them as they enter after they fill out a form. And that case manager walks them through the shop, we call it, and they can pick their own food. Now, at the same time, we suggest healthy foods, whether it's less sodium, less sugar, those kinds of things. But when we have children there and they want, whatever it is nowadays, Fruit Loops or something very sugary, and that's what we've been donated. We'd love to have a child, if that's what makes them excited, and that's their cereal, their food for the morning for a week or two. God bless them. It's a dignity issue. We also have, to further answer Skip's question, we have at least monthly, we have a formal session where we do teach people how to use the food that's on our shelves and spice it up. So maybe a can of meat that most of us in this room would say, oh goodness, what am I gonna do with that? Or I'd never buy that in the store. It looks like just doesn't look the packaging, everything just doesn't look pretty, but we get a lot of it donated. And it's necessary, and it's perfectly high quality meat in a can, so you'd open it with a can opener kind of thing. Pour it in almost as if you're gonna make sloppy joes or something like that. And we teach them how to make that meat, you know, with less sodium, with perhaps fresh, I can talk about also our fresh produce and all that. We have just opening this weekend, we have Lafayette students coming to work with us towards tilling our gardens that are behind the, we call them the community gardens. They're for all of our people. They help give fresh produce to our food pantry. They also are used in preparing food. So if you put that meat that I speak about into a skillet, I'm the last one to talk about cooking, but you put meat into a skillet, you may put some fresh, slice up some fresh tomatoes, whatever other kinds of produce that we, vegetables, you know, that we grow. And we grow that right behind Fowler. We also work very closely, have a formal collaboration with Lafayette College. We're making that stronger and stronger each week. But the program that's already strong is the collaborations called La Farm, the Lafayette Farm. So La Farm sends us not only students, but food from their farm. They've got a huge complex that does agriculture and farming, and they give us their fresh produce also. And we collaborate with all the other food pantries. This didn't happen years ago. There wasn't a lot of collaboration. So we're pleased with that. I hate to say proud, but we're very pleased with the fact that we're bringing a sense of collaboration to ProJeCt. We you know, play nicely in the sandbox with other nonprofits. Nobody is a winner. We're all winners when we try and raise each other up. I believe that in my heart. So we work with each other to try and help each other. We've got extra, particularly when it comes to perishable anything, whether it's the meats or whatever. You know, because sometimes we'll get them a day past whatever the market can sell them at. So if they're 2 days or 3 days or whatever it is that's our requirement to not be able to serve that anymore, we're going to offer that to other food pantries, and they're doing the same thing to us. It's a reciprocal agreement that we have with all food pantries. Thank you, Skip. Are there any other questions at all?
Just a comment. It's good to hear that you're collaborating with other local nonprofits as well.
Is the pantry still in the basement of the church?
It is.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why we do have to move one of these days is because we need a new freezer, and the floor joist, I'm told, will not support another freezer. So we can't even grow if we wanted to. But you know, we do the best we can, and the collaboration does make me very happy. And like I said, we help each other. We're helping everyone. Are there any other questions from we're losing some from the Zoom?
Are most of your walk-in, or they come in with the bus, or they get dropped off? In other words, if you move further into Westport or you move to South Side, would that be a big deterrent?
It wouldn't necessarily be a big deterrent. We have to be on a bus line, that's for sure. Because most of our students either walk, they ride a bicycle, they don't have a car.
Yeah.
So they have no transportation. It's almost not necessarily obvious, because we have people that drive to our food pantry. We also have a program, and I'll get to your question real quickly. We have a program where we work very hard with what a lot of people refer to, and I'll say, working poor. And we have our own issues with that whole statement, but we have, clearly there are people that are working that are still having food insecurities or working poor. I get it. I understand where that comes from. We have a lot of those come in. They're horrified that they come in, and some people say, well, how are they driving that car? It's a halfway decent car. It's a nice car. Well, you don't know if people could be living on the edge with credit or whatever else. Somebody, you know, burps and they lose their job, and here they are at the food pantry. And that happens more often than you think, you know, because there are many issues. Won't even get into most of them because it ends up being political, which I can't stand. But you know, there are many issues that create a scenario where a person who would be able to drive to our food pantry, gets out of their car and comes in and does their food shopping. I dare to say, nobody is abusing the system so much that we need to be concerned about it. I just, with every, cell in my body, I can tell you, nobody abuses the food pantry or any food pantry. None of us in here, unless something terrible happens to us that we weren't expecting, are going to drive to a food pantry because they heard that there's Cheerios there, or something that we all complain about spending $7 a box for. It's just not gonna happen. And I've had this discussion, you'd be amazed at how many times this comes up, this kind of discussion about enabling. But one of the things that we do at our food pantry, like I said, we have them sign in, and we have a case manager. There's only one paid person in our entire food pantry, which is currently serving over 5,000 individuals a month, for the year, but it's mostly, we try to cycle them in because we try to figure out, are they there? Are they coming to receive food because they don't have, or because they don't have an education, can't get a job? How can we help them? So we do try and cycle them, push them into one of our programs that's right down the street, just 2 blocks. What was your question before?
It wasn't a question, it was a comment. My next door neighbors are from Guatemala. And the husband works and I talked with him. But I never had a conversation with the wife or the 2 sons until our club made a donation a number of years back to the project. And our members were invited to come down to the building there in the 300 block of Berry Street.
Yes.
So I went down there just to look at what was there, what resulted from our making a donation. And lo and behold, I bumped into the wife and the 2 children. I ended up introducing myself and I realized that she didn't speak English. Come to find out later, talking with the husband, that she was then going down to take English as a second language and had the boys in a program. So I believe she has already graduated, and now the last thing I heard was that she now goes back to the project of Easton to help Spanish speaking people learn English.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Those are the stories that we do hear, not enough. So I appreciate you sharing that very much. Throughout the Lehigh Valley for our GED programs, for our food pantry, it's very Easton centric. And most of what we do, the majority, well over 60%, are the greater Easton area, including like Forks and Palmer and all these areas. But we service the entire Northampton County and the entire Lehigh Valley. Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot of food banks, food pantries around. I just went to the second harvest. I'm done in case you want me to give you off. I went to the second harvest gala kind of thing on Saturday night. They had theirs in their warehouse, and it was great. But they're our largest supporter. What we call them and tell them what we need and make a list, and that's how big and how strong and valued they are as an organization. Second Harvest, and I just felt like we better go because we've got to show that how grateful we are. I mean, the nonprofits have to show it, how grateful we are to them, because we couldn't have the consistency of services that we have without an organization like Second Harvest.
Yeah, they cover several counties.
Oh, no, a lot of counties. They're huge.
Yeah.
They were raising money that night specifically, just from your table, you'd write a private kind of a pledge, put it in a basket, and the top 4 got first choice at the dessert buffet, which were amazing, like desserts. Like you'd want to win them. Anyway, so we were hoping that the people sitting next to us, one was a board member. I said, I hope you're making your annual gift because it was our only hope of, there were a lot of heavy hitters there, obviously, but they were trying to raise funds for, I think it was an $80,000 truck to supplement their fleet. They have a fleet of big, I don't know if they have 18 rows, but I think so, refrigerated vehicles and all that to help all the different food pantries that they service. Second Harvest is a great organization. Any other questions? I'm also speaking I'm going to give this quick update to Ken Wilczek because he needs an update for the grant that you funded for us.
He normally would have been on the Zoom or here, but say that he's got a commitment today.
no worries, but I'm in touch with him, so I'll be giving him that by, I think it's Friday. And we're just grateful to have the support of the Kiwanis.
I've got a comment. Hi, Keith. Thank you, Bill. I love your presentation. I love what ProJeCt does. I'm probably one of the people in the room who did not know the full measure of what you do for our community. So I was very, very thrilled to listen to your presentation. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, and I'm very glad that Bill continues to have these Zoom opportunities. I guess my biggest question is, and I do know that Ken will be very interested in hearing your presentation. Several of us in the room are on the foundation board and will be meeting later this month to look at the grant applications that have come into the foundation. My question is, where is the primary source of your funding?
Well, that's a great question, and that's a good one, particularly for me as the chief fundraiser. Why I accepted the position is because the funding right now is from my strength is in major gifts. When I was, working the country for national nonprofits, it was always in. To answer your question, we have almost an equal amount of funding sources from individuals, including major gifts, grants, and contracts. Now, the contracts are with state and federal organizations, associations, agencies, including the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So what helps us with like the Student Success Program that you funded in the past has been $5,000, for which we're very grateful. We probably couldn't do it with, I don't want to say we couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without people like you and continuing to do that, that's for sure. But the school district approves that and gives us, say, whether it's a snack or a lunch with that. Same with our summer sizzle program, which runs for 6 full weeks in the summer. It's distinct from Student Success Program that you sponsor, but it's the same thing. We couldn't do it without the busing from the school district because it's just the liability alone is too much, and the school already has it. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does to the largest extent. I just want to make a final comment, and I'll echo other members' remarks about the collaboration. I love the collaboration with other food pantries. I know Janet and I did a morning of service filling food boxes at Second Harvest, and what a tremendous organization they have there. They are absolutely fantastic, and the support that they give to food pantries in the Lehigh Valley and the greater region is phenomenal. It just lifts my heart to hear about that collaboration, because I know that that's where everybody is supporting each other and you're getting more than what you could do on your own. Absolutely. And so I just really encourage and love to hear that.
Thank you. I have one quick question. One other quick thing to tell you. Make certain that you go on our website, because on the website you'll see what pops up anytime, even if you just hit the donation page. Each of our 990s shows up for every year. The most current is always on there. And so you can see history. The other thing is you'll see graphs. And look at our annual report for this year. It's the new imagery that we're using that I love. So you'll definitely like to see the financials on there, because it'll show in a pie graph format, from where our money comes. And that will give you, I do believe, great confidence. It gave me great confidence in accepting the position. So in addition to a relatively, for the size of our organization, we've got a substantial reserve for a rainy day. So it's that stays there. We don't touch that without significant board approval.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Keith.
Thank you.
I recently had the tour, and I did like the wall, and the fact that you whatever you're doing, you're attacking the problem from so many different perspectives, but you're tying into education, which is something that not all nonprofits do, and I think you're doing that in a good way. I wanted to say that regarding your language program, for the people that are not able to get into the program right now, Paxton also has a program that they took actually from me, that was an intercommunal program they're doing now, and I'm sure some of them can get in there, but they utilize their Columbia students as complete for that program from the Spanish department. They're very receptive to that, so you might get on some of that. And in regard to the partnering of the nonprofits, I agree that that's essential. There's plenty of work to go around. And that way you can avoid the duplication of services that often happen here because people don't know what the other guy is doing. And many of you are touching on similar spots. I was at the food bank at St. Anthony last night, and they talked about how the numbers swell in a week and then drop in the following week. And banks have been trying to look at what's the cause of that. One of the things they speculated is that people are just coming through here short term and leaving, which I imagine would affect some of what you're doing as well. And so my question goes to, and I think it's exciting that you take individuals and then put them into work programs. Do you follow up on that to see the continued success of that, or how many people are actually successful? Because I loved your line that better citizens, more self-sufficient people.
Absolutely.
Do they come away with that and even being
Yes, and we measure it as best we can. We
Yeah.
can't force someone to keep in touch with us,
right?
but we keep in touch with them. No, it's a terrific question and a great comment. And I'll follow up with the Paxnosa to make certain that I'm understanding that, and I think I do.
Yeah.
And we do use the Lafayette Spanish-speaking students and, you know, the people, the children, students that are learning Spanish.
Right.
Or I also want to make sure it brought up a point. We have 39 countries represented right now in project. 39. It was 35 in November, went to 37, and as of today, it's 39 countries. So, and it sounds, I've been all over the world because I love to see other cultures and things like that. It sounds, it's a racist thing for me to say, but I was surprised because I thought, first I thought 35 was a lot. 39 is incredible, but they're from all over the world. It's not just south of the border or the Eastern European countries that we all hear about in the news. It's not that, it's nothing, really isn't. It's primarily Spanish speaking, so I understand that. But, you know, we have 4 from Japan, which that's the racist thing I was thinking. I thought, Japan, I was there twice, and I just think it's amazing. I love the Asian culture and all that. But I was surprised in my head, and I probably should keep it in my head, but I don't. I said, I thought the whole culture, you know, but we all have these things in our head. It's not just, when you say racist, it's not just about the obvious kinds of things that we hear about all the time. You know, not every Japanese person has the ability or their system doesn't allow for someone to fall out of a safety net. So I didn't know, I just didn't, it surprised me. So, and clearly it's a racist thought that people just are afraid to say. But
We met a young lady there last night who had been here under a visa for 2 years working as a au pair, and then she went back home and realized that she liked it better to came back. And she spoke with us a bit last time. She speaks English and Spanish. She was a teacher over there, but unable to get any kind of work now that she's back. So somebody about someone I don't know.
and sent her in. Now, I'm not certain about the volunteer requirements for, I think should be fine volunteering. As long as they pass all the background checks.
Right.
One of the reasons why I spoke quickly about the differences, and if anybody working in our early childhood education center, you even need what's called a specific kind of physical. And clearly it's for us, it's just like a proof of a TB test and maybe an X-ray of your lungs if there's any reason to question that, I guess. But that's getting in the weeds for sure. But other than the ECE, even our out of school youth. So those are 17 to 24-year-olds where we have a direct collaboration with the school systems to go into the schools and speak with the guidance counselor and grab, Josie or Susie or whoever they are, get them before they decide to drop out of school. Let's get them into earning our GED here, because maybe it's just the setting. Schools can be overwhelming for a myriad reasons. We don't know why, what's going to affect these children, and yet they'll come to Project of Easton, and they can be paired with oftentimes a volunteer that will truly change their lives. We have a police officer that volunteers and is becoming, I know, a mentor and a very dear friend to this young guy who looks up to him as a mentor already. It's amazing to watch, because it's just the two of them sitting there, and one's in a police uniform, and the only one allowed on premises with a gun, and the other one is learning English and working on his GED and really wants to be proud. So those are the things that change lives, and I love that you put on the tour.
I believe almost everybody in the room and on the screen does know, but in case they don't remember, what does ProJeCt stand for?
Well, that's right. So ProJeCt is 2 years younger than I am. ProJeCt was founded in 1968, soon after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. And a man who is Protestant, a man who is Jewish, and a man who is Catholic came together. So it's a Protestant, Jewish, Catholic that made us ProJeCt. Now our logo is changing, but we're still ProJeCt. And our tagline won't hopefully never change. That's called helping people help themselves. But that's a great question. We're 56 years old, and this year we have a board member that's been on the board for 56 years. So we do not have term limits. Many of you may know him. That's Danny Cohen. Right now, we serve everybody. We have no distinct or formal affiliation with any. But we have a large group of all the churches and synagogues that support us.
Well, Keith, thank you very much for joining us today. And now you can have your lunch.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.